Welcome back, y'all, and happy Monday. Today, we're going to talk about our men's basketball team because March Madness is quickly approaching us, and Tennessee's still in the hunt for that #1 seed. I love the way that this team is built. Some of the things that we talked about before that we needed for this team to show us, they're showing it to us, but there's still a few more things that we need to see to make sure that not only can we get into the tournament, which of course we're going to do, but can we actually make a national championship push? I feel like we can. I'll break down why as we go throughout this video. But please, as always, y'all, if y'all enjoy our content, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. All right, y'all, we're going to start off right here with our schedule. We only have 4 games left. So tomorrow we're actually going to be going to LSU at 9 p.m. And then after that, on Saturday, we get to host Alabama. Now, that's the game that's going to hold a whole lot of bearing just because Alabama right now does have a #1 seed, and we'll take a look at the bracketology and all of that type of stuff. But if we can win that game, I think that Tennessee's in a great position to potentially get that #1 seed, but we would need to win out, I think. So we're talking about going to Ole Miss and winning, which should be very, very doable. And then also hosting South Carolina. We need to win that one as well. But let's talk about this Texas A&M game because we didn't get a chance to recap that one on Saturday. We had too many things going on. But I want to kind of touch on some of the things that I noticed from our team and tell you why I think Tennessee's in a really good spot to potentially win the whole doggone thing. All right, so what we're looking at, y'all, is the box score from ESPN. Of course, Tennessee did win the game on Saturday over Texas A&M, 77-69. Didn't look great in that first half. That's the first thing that I'm going to say immediately, that we need to do a much better job of getting off to some good starts. That can get you killed in a one-off situation in March Madness. But I love the way that this team battles in the second half. Now, just as far as what I saw that I liked out of this team is, number one, look at Chaz Lanier's numbers, 30 points. A lot of folks were down on Chaz. I think he's averaging like 19 points a game, but he stepped up in a way that we haven't seen for about a month or so now. And it's really just because Texas A&M backed off of him. They didn't play as tight of defense as other teams have done. I love that just because heading into the tournament, what we're going to see is more teams starting to make sure, hey, look, Chaz Lanier, you got to guard him very, very closely. He hit several threes. So 8 of 13. I think he might have hit like 6 or 7 in a row. He was on fire. I also love the simple fact that he was able to drive to the basket and he punched it home hard. We've said that a million times on this channel. So with Chaz playing this way, it frees up everything else for the rest of this team. So I like what Felix did. Obviously not a whole lot of points. He still needs to get a little bit more comfortable, but we still have 4 more games for him to work into his groove down inside of the paint. That's going to be big once we head into the tournament. Also, Iggy didn't score a whole lot, right? Only 5 points, which is still good. He shot 4 threes, only made 1, so 25% right there, and then he was 20% from the field overall, but that's really just because he was shooting a whole bunch of threes. Now, the one time that he did actually score, he drove to the basket. I love the simple fact that Iggy is ready to do whatever it takes to score some points. He's coming to his own, playing with a whole lot of confidence, and we need somebody that can create their own shot. So Iggy's one of those players. Another one would definitely be Zizi, who dropped 16. And he's been on fire for like the past month, pretty much since he came back from that, little knee deal and all of that type of stuff that he had. He's looked very, very consistent. Obviously, I want for him to work on not being as careless with the basketball. Some of the turnovers that they're saying, it wasn't really on him. They're saying that he had 3, also had 2 steals, so he's -1 in that category. Need for him to make sure that he is locked in from this point forward to take care of the basketball. But I love what he's doing. I mean, on defense and offense, it really doesn't matter. He's a dog. He's the leader of this basketball team. So loving the fact that he's playing with a whole lot of confidence. And also, man, I would have to point to a guy like Jamal Meshack, who is starting to shoot the open looks. Now, he does need to continue to find the confidence within shooting those open looks because he is going to get them. Now, he's the ultimate X factor. If he will shoot with confidence, Tennessee will win the national championship. That's the missing piece, I think, personally. He can do it by himself just by doing what he's done since he was born. So I love that. I also love the simple fact that he continues to attack that basketball goal. Now, let's talk about our 6th man, Jordan Gainey. Listen, anytime he's over double digits, Tennessee's probably going to win. So he dropped 14 in our previous game, and he's also playing with a whole lot of confidence, getting to a spot, whether that's mid-range, getting to the basket, or shooting those open looks from 3. He's doing a very good job. So he needs to continue to play with that high level of confidence. And I think that everyone's playing a really good defense. Obviously, Cade Phillips, I say this every single time that we talk about our basketball team. I love everything that he does. So many things won't show up inside of the stat sheet for you, but man, you want to talk about a guy that is just a dog. You need that. You absolutely need it. And Cade has stepped into that role, and I think that he's playing phenomenally within that role. I think D-Stone is also playing very, very well. Now, he's not dropping a whole bunch of points. Last game only dropped 2, but he always does some nice things on defense, the way that he's trying to work more on that post game. That's something that I feel like as he continues to work on that, anytime that he gets some minutes, he's going to feel a lot more comfortable down there, and that will definitely open up some wide open looks for all of our shooters on the outside. So I'm loving what I'm seeing from this team. We just need to make sure that we're taking good care of the basketball. Again, he's a guy that I always talk about. 0 turnovers last game. We got to get ZZ on that same page. And we also just need to make sure that everyone is able to get to their spots and score pretty much at will. Now, I'm thinking that that could happen by the time we get to the end of this season. If that happens, I'm going to feel great about Tennessee's chances heading into March Madness. And I would say especially if Tennessee can win out like we just talked about and we can get that #1 seed in the Midwest over Alabama, because look at that side of the bracket. I mean, there is pretty much no resistance. There's not a single solitary team over there that scares me, not even a little bit for Tennessee. So that would be a beautiful thing if we could get over there. And it's just going to take us winning out. But where Tennessee's at this point is #2 in the East. So there's a lot of teams over here that you probably wouldn't necessarily want to face. It's not to say that Tennessee can't beat them. It's just a lot tougher matchup. So Duke being one of them, I actually think that Tennessee matches up very well with Duke, but they've got some guys that could, I mean, just break a game wide open at any given point. Obviously, Vandy has given Tennessee trouble every time that we played them this season. Arizona's got some dogs. You always got to watch out for those Kentucky Wildcats. They've given us a ton of trouble for years. So that's one that you really don't want to see necessarily. Ole Miss would be another one. Really, I mean, there's several teams that you could look at right there inside of the East. So we don't want to end up in this spot. Now, this is coming from CBS Sports. This is not the end-all, be-all. But if it plays out like this, then no, you don't want to go down to the East. And if you look over to the West, right? So, again, let's say if Tennessee wins out, we maybe take that #1 seed away from Florida, a team that we split with this season. They killed us one time. We killed them one time. So I have no idea how that's all going to play out. But over there, there's a whole bunch of teams. Houston is really good. UConn is always UConn. I think that St. Mary's is a team that you do not want to play. Mississippi State, we know about them. Oklahoma. I mean, that is that might be the toughest side. So you really don't want to go there. I would rather be #2 inside of the East than #1 inside of the West. So with all these things being said, I feel like Tennessee understands what they're facing. If they can win out, which I feel like there's going to be a very strong push to do just that, we could potentially end up #1 seed inside of the Midwest with, I mean, I'm not going to say it's a, clear path to a Final Four, but it's almost a clear path to a Final Four. So this is what we're gunning for, and I definitely think that Tennessee can get that done. Now, I haven't even talked about the SEC tournament just because I think that that's pretty much a total non-factor. I would almost prefer for Tennessee to try to lose inside of the SEC tournament, give us a little bit more rest. I wouldn't say lose immediately, win a couple of games just so that you can stay inside of the groove and all that, especially if we're on fire in that sort of a situation. And yeah, let's keep on playing. Let's keep on winning, because basketball is just so streaky. You want to stay as hot as possible, but it has really no bearing on your seeding inside of March Madness. We've seen that for pretty much ever, right? So I don't too much care about that. Yes, it would be cool to, be able to win the SEC tournament. I want to win a national championship. I think that this team is built to do it. We've seen a lot more movement off the ball, people trying to get open. We talked about Chaz dropping 30. Now, again, Texas A&M didn't play him as tight as most teams typically do, but I still saw more dog from him. I saw more fight. And sometimes whenever you get, kind of like that free lane or, those free lanes, those freer passes, it can open up your mind to understand, hey, I can do this all the time, and you want to continue to do it. So we'll see what happens with some of these future games coming up tomorrow night, starting off. I do feel like we will see a lot tighter defense on Chaz. Will he continue to work to get open? And what does the rest of the team do? Can we continue to stay hot with ZZ? Iggy didn't have his best game last time, but at the same time, it wasn't a horrible game. He did some very, very nice things. I love the way that he's playing, because it's not always just about scoring the points. It's about getting those boards. It's about, opening up some freer shots for other players. And I think that Iggy is a player that will get keyed on, so that can open up a lot of good looks for guys like we talked about. Shaq. Shaq is going to have to hit his open looks. If he can just find a place that he feels very comfortable and confident in shooting at, then listen, get to that spot or get to a spot where you can get to that spot, if that makes sense, and knock those shots down. And if that happens, just those few little things that we just talked about, Tennessee is going to be very hard to stop because our defense is always lights out. We always do a really good job of playing defense. So I'm excited about what this team is going to do heading into March Madness. And I'm just going to tell you straight up, I'm probably going to be picking us to win the whole doggone thing inside of my bracket. But y'all let me know y'all's thoughts down in the comment section. And as always, please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks. Peace.